Hello adventurers, I'm Gray and welcome to a new Hytale blog post. It's been a long time since I've been able to say those words and I couldn't be more excited. In fact, the last blog post was in December 10th, 2020, so last year. It's been almost 7 months since the last blog post, which means it's been about as long since my last Hytale video. I know that's not the best since this is supposed to be a Hytale channel, it is called Graytale and all, but I just haven't had much to discuss without having these blog posts with lots of updates coming out, and so I figured I'd go through this once again with you all, sort of for the first time for myself. I can give some reactions, some of my thoughts, some of my predictions for the future, that sort of thing, and we can get excited together about what's going on with Hytale right now. So to start off, hello everyone! In today's post, we're going to provide an update on the progress we've made in the last 6 months, explain how our plans for Hytale have evolved, and take a look at some new and updated aspects of the game, including weapon-specific combat styles, character customization, and AI. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you guys in advance, I have fallen a bit behind in terms of what's going on in Hytale, and I've probably forgotten quite a few things, so if I make mistakes, that's just going to happen. The first half of 2021 has been a period of significant change, both for Hytale and for Hypixel Studios. We've continued to recruit new team members whose talents and unique perspectives have expanded our sense of what Hytale can be. We've changed the way we work, steadily moving away from the exploratory approach that has defined the project's first few years towards more efficient, targeted production milestones. At the same time, our design for Hytale has been evolving. Some parts of the game have undergone radical change, while in other areas we've expanded on established groundwork. At the core of all of this is a commitment to creating the best game we possibly can, to making a contribution to the genre that surprises and delights players while empowering creators for many years to come. Now, I will say, just personally, Hytale has a lot of challenges ahead of it, and I think the team knows that they have those challenges, because Minecraft is huge, and the comparisons are going to happen between them, so it has to stand out in its own way and give players a reason to play it instead of other games within a similar genre. And I hope they're able to achieve that and make something worth playing for years and years to come. Oh, look at this. It's a jackrabbit, I believe. Was that the name of it? I can't quite remember. I mean, of course, we got some Quebecs, the signature species, the signature race of Hytale. Some carrots. Very nice photo. Our plan for Hytale is ambitious, and we're very fortunate to be in a position where we have the time, people, and resources that we need to get it right. However, getting it right involves a ton of experimentation, iteration, and change. This introduces a lot of uncertainty to the development process, and while we believe this is healthy, it's been good to challenge our assumptions, it has also meant that we've been less open than we used to be. We've needed space and time to make major decisions about the project, so basically explaining why they've been doing mostly postcards rather than blog posts. Well, they've talked about that many times now before, and I know that they need to really focus on their work right now. It makes sense. I'm glad they're having at least the postcards so we can kind of see what they've been doing. Even so, we know that half a year is a long time to wait for an update. The reason that answers have not been more forthcoming this year is because, until recently, we did not have them. We've spent this time considering many possible approaches to launch, factoring in many different perspectives, doing a ton of research, and developing a better understanding of what we need to do in order to meet our goals. Alright, here's another... Oh, I like the, what's that, bokeh effect? In this prefab here. It's a little icy fortress, zone 3, Berea. This is all off the top of my head. If I get anything wrong, that's my bad. What has become increasingly apparent is that we have several more years of work ahead of us before Hytale is ready to launch. Oh, so they're saying that it's not launching anytime this year or anytime next year, it seems. At least several more years. We don't want to provide another estimated launch window that turns out to be incorrect. However, we no longer expect to be ready to launch Hytale before 2023 at the earliest, and it could very well take longer. There are two key considerations driving this assessment. The first is that our capabilities as a studio have significantly improved and the scope of what we can do has expanded. Put simply, we're better at making games than we used to be, but taking full advantage of this takes time. That makes sense? So they're growing their studio, they're growing the scale and the scope of the game, and they're wanting to be sure that the game is high quality when it releases. So they're pushing I won't say pushing back because I don't think that's incorrect. They were never certain about the release date anyway because it's still heavily in development. But as of right now, 2023 is the earliest release date, which is actually the year I graduate from school. So that might be very convenient for me. The second consideration is the need to develop Hytale in a way that allows us to bring it to multiple platforms as rapidly as possible. It's always been our goal to eventually release Hytale on mobile and consoles as well as PC, but it has become apparent that we are heading for a scenario where our community would ultimately find itself split across versions and devices. This is the same problem that the Minecraft community found itself whenever Microsoft was wanting to make Minecraft available on all the systems. So they had like a Switch version, they had a DS version. There was a DS version of Minecraft, believe it or not. At least I think there was. They had an Xbox version, they had a PlayStation version, until eventually Microsoft decided that they're just going to put everything together on a Bedrock version of Minecraft and just have it carry over across all these consoles and across mobile. So it's only Bedrock and Java now of Minecraft. But it takes a lot of work to get everything synchronized between these different systems. We think it is enormously important to avoid this, to create an ecosystem where as many players as possible can play together and share their creations. However, this means making major changes to Hytale's engine and our approach to launch, and this extends development time. So I'm guessing rather than releasing PC version first and then all the other ones later and just over time just releasing them, they want to release all the different versions at the same time and have them all interlinked with each other. Oh yeah? Oh, is that the same? Oh, it's the same prefab as from the previous screenshot, but it's just in a distance this time. Look at this guy, he's looking at me. Arriving at this decision has been a challenging process. None of us expected this to be such a long project, and we're aware that this approach brings its own risks and costs. We're mindful of the dangers of scope creep, and we're working to ensure that we proceed with a strong sense of what done means. We also know that prolonged development is going to be unwelcome news for the Hytale community. We stated back in December that we didn't believe it was fair to allow anticipation to remain at fever pitch. However, we're aware that reduced communication over the last 6 months has allowed speculation to bubble back up again, and that news of a longer wait is likely to be a shock to many. Even so, we strongly believe that the choice to spend longer in development will serve our community best in the long run. It's worth reiterating that we won't release Hytale as a surprise. When we're on the final approach to launch, we'll let everybody know in plenty of time. There will undoubtedly be new job listings, updates to our website, and changes in our back-end systems in the intervening period. While we understand the temptation to interpret these as a sign that launch is imminent, they're a normal part of our working process and not an indication that our plans have changed. I have thoughts about this, but let's continue in the article for now, and then I'll talk about it at the further on. Another screenshot in-game, so some horse and a guy camping out. There's probably not going to be anything too secret that they're revealing in these screenshots, but they're just nice little views of the Hytale world. Another consequence of this approach is that weekly screenshots are no longer a viable way for us to update the community. The major technical changes that we're making will mean that, for a time, it will be more complicated to produce screenshots and clips that accurately reflect the experience that players will have when Hytale launches. We're also looking at a longer production process, and we want to make sure that Hytale has some surprises left in store when players get their hands on it. However, as has already been said, our need for privacy over the last 6 months has been driven by the tough decisions that we needed to make. Now that those decisions are made and our broader plans announced, it's possible for us to open up a little bit more and be more engaged with the community. In that regard, you can expect our approach to communication to change. We'll post fewer, more substantial official updates interspersed with increased engagement from the team as we go about the day-to-day work of building Hytale. Interesting. So they're not going to be doing the weekly update, the weekly postcards, it seems, because of the difficulties they have with producing accurate screenshots and clips. Instead, they're going to be opening up in a different way, and I'm not sure if that means more blog posts or if that just means that they're going to be engaging more with the community on social media and things like that. It says more substantial official updates, so there might be every once in a while, maybe every few months or so, just speculating, some blog posts with some more substantial info, sort of showing their progress that they're making, what changes are going on. But it looks like Hytale is going to be a very long development game, and they're going to be making a lot of changes to the back end and the front end over these years, and not everything is going to be very obvious to us. Like, a lot of it's going to be changes to the back end systems to make sure everything works well, and this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So here's a look at a Quebec sort of village. Very pretty. I really like Zone 1. I like the trees and the leaves in Hytale. This has been a challenging set of decisions to make, but the position we're in is extremely fortunate. We're in this position because of the huge response to the Hytale announcement, as well as the energy and enthusiasm that the Hytale community has subsequently invested in our project. We are enormously grateful for that investment, and it will be at the forefront of our minds when we're finally ready to share Hytale with you all. In the meantime, let's take a look at some new stuff. Okay, take a look at that new stuff in a sec. This is big news. This is big news. That means that we know that Hytale's not releasing soon. We know that. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you all now, tone down the hype and the expectations and things like that. I've toned mine down quite a while ago, not going to lie. Like, I've seen a lot of wonderful, wonderful Hytale YouTubers. I see a lot of them post in the Hytale subreddit. I see them post in the Discord. And there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm, as I mentioned here, that the Hytale community has. I really wish I had that energy and enthusiasm that you guys have. Like, I can't find it in me to make videos on just random stuff, random postcards and all this stuff. Like, unless there's a substantial update like a blog post here, I have a hard time coming up with stuff to discuss. I'm just not that creative. I just want to play the game and have fun with friends doing Let's Plays and things like that once it releases. But it looks like it'll be a long time before that happens. And the updates, like the postcards and stuff, might be less common. I'm of course still going to do videos whenever there's a big update, like a blog post and things like that. But I'm hoping that the Hytale community can tone it down a little bit, keep their hype in check, and still be like excited about the game. That's great. And I'm excited to see you all still posting videos and stuff. I'm amazed at the ideas that some of you come up with for Hytale-based videos for a game that it's not even near releasing yet, and there's still so much content being released for it online. I'm honestly impressed. I couldn't do it. But yeah, just keep the expectations and hype and things like that down for now, because it'll be a long time, and once it gets closer to release, bring that back up and get excited. But for now, it'll be a long time, it seems. So let's look at some expanded character personalization. Oh, that guy's a demon. The personalization of your player character is a central theme of Hytale. We're making a game that offers a lot of different ways to play, from solo or co-op adventure to minigames and other social activities. Your character is at the heart of all of these, a living expression of your choices, experiences, and achievements. We want to ensure that players feel unconstrained in their creativity and self-expression, and that has meant taking a new approach to the player character, who they are, what they can be, and how they fit into the world of Hytale. So I remember before, they talked about the I forget what it was called, but the Hytale creation engine, like the thing where you can make your own models and weapons and things like that in the game. Oh, was it Hytale Model Maker? Something like that? And then they talked about how, they showed the character creator and how you could put like different things on the character, like different clothing that you can make. So, did they change that? Let's see. There's a little video here. Okay, they're showing different customization, mostly horns and ears and stuff. Or are these like different races that you can be? Our player characters are avatars, the powerful, playful, and protean denizens of a boundless realm known as the Alterverse. Drawn to Olympus via a mysterious cosmic event, ooh, lore, many avatars find themselves adopting forms influenced by this emergent world. Okay, so basically the official name of the characters in Hytale are avatars. Alright, makes sense because it is the avatar of us, the player avatar. And it's meant for us to immerse ourselves in the world. That's the whole point of games like this, games like Minecraft and things, to really feel like you're there. In the realm of the Alterverse, drawn to Orbis by a mysterious cosmic event. Interesting. I wonder what that cosmic event is. Many avatars find themselves adopting forms influenced by this emergent world. However, others manifest unique forms inspired by the infinite diversity of the wider Alterverse, and all avatars are free to adjust their appearance as the mood strikes them. You are free to mix and match basic components like faces, eyes, and hair, layer on additional fantastic elements like horns, pointy ears, or tusks, and combine these in modern fashions, adventuring garb, or cosplay. We're continually working to expand the options available while also extending our layering system to allow for more sophisticated customization of clothing and gear. We want players to feel free to carve out their own identities, and to feel supported in doing this both by the suite of options on offer and by the story of Hytale itself. I wonder if you can unlock clothing and things like that through playing the game. That would be somewhat cool, actually. Getting unique cosmetics that you can equip from completing quests and stuff. Creativity and change are the lifeblood of the Ultraverse, and avatars are its living expression. Here's a adventurer going out in the wild. The name Avatar captures the double role that every player character fulfills, both as a character in a high fantasy adventure, a story, and as an expression of the player's online identity. We know from experience how important it is to let players create personas that follow them seamlessly, not just between the various game modes of Hytale, but beyond to their social media accounts and creator channels. These are all forms of creative expression at the end of the day. Absolutely. I already see people who have made their Hytale characters already and use it for like their YouTube channel avatars and stuff. I don't know how you do it. I'm guessing you use Hytale Model Maker or something like that. Maybe I should do that sometime, but I don't think I have the creative skills to do it. A new approach to combat. This is going to be very important to a lot of people, and I like the screenshot a lot. Look at this. This is a very cool place to fight. I like the effects as well, the particle effects. We've begun completely rebuilding Hytale's combat system over the course of the last year, prototyping and testing several revisions before adopting our current approach. At the heart of these changes are the weapons that each avatar carries. Which weapons you carry forms the cornerstone of your combat playstyle, providing you with a set of abilities specific to that weapon type. We want to make sure that weapons feel distinct from one another, offering more than simple changes to attack speed or damage. Alongside these changes, we've also overhauled the audio and video effects for combat, visual effects for combat to emphasize the power of each blow. The UI is also undergoing significant changes to support the new combat system, including dedicated UI elements for new features like stamina blocking and signature moves. We're not ready to share these changes just yet, which is why I've disabled the UI in the clips below. Let's take a look at 2 examples. This is very exciting because combat is extremely important in these types of games, and it's something that's very hard to get right. I know there's still a lot of complaints about Minecraft's combat, and they're working on improving it. I know Jeb is really focusing on that, but it's very difficult to get something people are happy with that like has a layer of skill like that you can get better at, but also makes it so that new players can still do well in combat and PvP and things like that. But stamina blocking and signature moves, so they have a lot of mechanics that come from like different games and things like that. And I'm guessing it'll be sort of a flow. So you have to like use your stamina to dodge effectively or hit effectively, block moves at the right time, use a signature whenever the enemy is weakened or open. Okay, so they use several different moves there. They had the regular slashes, of course, which I'm assuming is the base attack. They also have a sort of special attack where they charge up and do a little dash. Reminds me of Sea of Thieves, where you can hold down your regular attack to do a little charge attack. And then he has a little spin at the end with an extra hit, which might be a special, like a little spin attack, sort of Zelda style. In this clip, we run through the fundamental moveset of the one-handed sword. Basic attacks take the form of 3-hit combo, striking from the right and left, followed by an overhead chop. The sword's special attack is a charged lunge, which incorporates a short dash and applies knockback to the target. The sword's signature move, which is charged by landing blows and blocking incoming strikes, is a dramatic spin followed by another powerful lunge. Okay, so I basically got it. This does damage in an area while rewarding good positioning with the ability to deal sudden damage to a key foe. The sword is a weapon that favors defensive and reactive play, offering good utility in the form of lunges and knockback while providing steady damage output. It pairs well with a shield, which provides the ability to block frontal attacks as long as the wielder has sufficient stamina. Good stamina management allows sword and shield users to safely charge their signature move by blocking blows, allowing them to follow up with a powerful precision strike. In PvP, sword and shield users are difficult to pin down and overwhelm. They can achieve surprising mobility with their charged lunge and can control the pace of a fight with their shield. However, baiting out unnecessary blocks and outlasting their stamina leaves them vulnerable and reduces their ability to flee. Okay, I might like the sword and shield because I'm more of a frontline fighter in games. I like to get up in the action, so this might be a good thing to do that. Though I am curious about the different weapons and how many weapon types there will be. That's what I want to know. This is the heavy, two-handed mace. So the attacks are slower. but I'm guessing deal a lot more damage. And you have a Slam, which I'm guessing deals a lot of damage and AoE. Or at the very least can hit several enemies at once. There's a very different weapon, the Mace. Mace strikes are slow, consume a chunk of stamina, but do plenty of damage and knockback. Basic attacks take the form of steady right-left swings, while the alternate attack provides a high knockback hilt bash. The Mace can be charged to perform a powerful special attack, and its signature is a devastating leaping slam that deals massive damage and knockback to all enemies near its impact zone. Good Mace players are always aware of the timing and direction of their strike, and avoid wasting stamina on wild swings. Their defensive power comes entirely from managing the flow of battle with knockback, so positioning and situational awareness are key. It's certainly less safe than hiding behind a shield, but makes a Mace wielder significantly more dangerous when fighting near an environmental hazard like a cliff or lava. Oh boy. I can imagine the power of the Mace in something like Sky Wars, where you're fighting someone on a narrow bridge, you can just knock them off. These are two of the weapon types we've been working on. We've also been testing new playstyles for Daggers, which favor hit and run attacks, of course, and provide a ton of bonus mobility, and Battle Axes, which build up powerful damage boosts by landing successive hits, encouraging all-in aggression. That might be my favorite. The next step is to extend this depth and variety to ranged weapons, while giving players additional ways to customize their playstyle through the use of armor and trinkets. The overall goal of the system is to encourage players to compose their own approach to combat by combining a wide array of meaningfully distinct elements. Alright. Next, AI advancements. Alright, I don't remember what those guys are called, so I'm just going to call him a goblin for now. Little bomb goblin down there. Now, the last 6 months, the team has made substantial additions to Hytale's modular AI system in order to add depth, interest, and variety to PvE combat. The new system, which we've been calling the Combat Action Evaluator, allows NPCs to make smarter decisions about targets, weapons, and approaches to battle. The system allows specific creatures to express their personalities through the way they fight. NPCs assess various conditions, including the number and behavior of foes, in order to guide their next action. These range from the target and timing of their basic attacks to the execution of specific actions, like switching weapons, using a special attack, or fleeing. The system is built to be configurable and allows for a variable degree of fuzziness. Just because a system can choose an optimal move, that doesn't mean that all NPCs have to use them. We built it in this way in order to prevent NPCs from becoming predictable. We found that characters have a greater sense of life when they're allowed to make mistakes. Absolutely! I like a living, breathing world, one where the enemies you fight feel like actual enemies you could fight in a real fantasy world. So that makes sense as well. Here's an example of the new system in action. The following clip shows a duel between two avatars armed with swords and shields. One of these characters is being controlled by a player and the other is an AI. Interesting. I actually wasn't sure which one was the human and which one was the AI during that fight. Let me take one more look again to sort of see if I can tell the difference. Okay, I think I can tell some slight differences between them. Like the AI moves a little bit more mechanically, just slightly, than the other one. Sometimes it'll go from like back up and then just stop for a moment and then do something else, whereas the player seems to basically always be moving. It could just be me like knowing what's the correct one and then just seeing things that aren't actually there. But that was actually very impressive. I like that a lot. Our goal wasn't necessarily to create an AI that could perfectly mimic a player, but we've gotten closer than we expected. This dueling AI has proved useful for testing new weapon designs, and it's claimed its fair share of victories against some of the better PvPers on the team. That is super cool. I really like that. Okay, well this is getting a bit long, so let's just continue. And finally... Ooh! Look at that guy. Little lizard. And some krebs. We know that this has been a long post with a lot of new information to digest, and we want to reiterate how grateful we are for the passion and enthusiasm of the Hytale community. The development of Hytale continues to be a long, exciting, challenging journey, and it's not always been easy, particularly when we've had to make tough decisions. At the end of the day, however, what motivates us is a desire to do right by our team and by our community. We'll leave you with a new track from the Hytale OST. Adventure and Chill by Hytale composer Oscar Garvin. Oscar's back again. It's been a while. This track was composed as an introduction to Hytale as a whole, branching out from the main theme to touch on all the different elements of the game we're creating. An immersive and inviting world, a welcoming social space, and a creative sandbox with boundless opportunities for self-expression. Bringing this world to life has turned out to be more challenging than any of us expected, but we're more confident than ever that we're heading in the right direction. Alright, this song will probably be playing in the background of this video, so that's very cool. And that is it for this. Alright, so let's just we'll just look at this nice little image here, and I'll give some last thoughts. So that was a long blog post, which I'm glad it is, because it's been a long time since we've had a Hytale blog post. It's been many months now, and I'm really grateful to the Hytale team, Hypixel Studios, for setting this up, getting this out here, updating us on what's going on, and giving us an idea of what to look forward to in the future. It's been a while since we've been able to know all these things and to learn more about how the game's progress has been going. And it looks like they've been working really hard and doing a lot in the game, a lot. Like, I really like the detailed showcase of the progress in combat, the progress in AI, because that's like two very important parts of the game, the online part and the survival part. Both of those, like the AI especially, is very vital, and that's something I care a lot about, because I play a lot of survival mode in these types of games, and just like playing with friends and exploring the world and fighting monsters and animals and making friends and things like that. Like, the survival mode is very important to me, and having a world that feels alive, where all the creatures act like you'd think they would, to me would make the game a lot better. So I'm glad they're working really hard on all these things, and it looks like they're very ambitious right now with the game, and they want it to be a really, really good game, and that's why they're pushing it back, or not pushing it back, once again, not the correct phrasing, but that's why they're not releasing it soon. They're spending a good amount of time working on developing it, and it'll be 2023 or later, could be years later beyond that, depending on how development goes and what they want to do with the game. However, it will release one day. I'm going to go ahead and say it now, the game will release one day, and I'm going to play it when it releases. That is a promise. For now though, I'm going to continue to follow along with the updates, and stay excited and stay interested in the game, even if I don't do that many Hytale videos on this channel. Even though it's a Hytale based channel, I have a hard time coming up with things to talk about whenever there's no like news updates and things like that. But when there are, I'll go over those updates. You all can follow it along with me, and we can all be excited about Hytale together. And all the other Hytale YouTubers and anyone who's online who's interested, people who make fan art, that sort of thing, the Hytale community, keep being there, keep being excited, have a good time together. Don't be toxic. From what I've seen, we've mostly been a really nice community. So keep that up, keep up the good work, and yeah. So that's pretty much all for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate a like, comment, or a subscription. It really does help. That's all for now, and I hope to see you on the next adventure.